Welcome back to the Hot Slice. I'm creative director Josh Keown. Along with me, executive editor of Pizza Today, Denise Greer. Hello, Denise.
Hello, Josh.
What's new in your world, Denise?
Well, so we just put the November issue to bed, and a big part of that was a report that I was working on talking about the impact of COVID-19. And this report was extensive. I mean, we sought survey after survey. We surveyed the industry and found that, although we have great operators that are doing really well. I mean, we have some operators, 50% above where they were the year before last. But we do have about half of our operators that are running in the negative. A little over half actually that are running, they may be running, 5%, 10%. Some are running even 20 to 30% down from where they were. So it's important to realize that although pizza is a great market to be in, there are still people that are down. So finding those ways to help those that are struggling, I think that's really what we got to make sure that we keep our eye on the prize to help them grow.
And to go along with that report, we have pizzeria owners shared their stories and what they're going through. So we have a few pages of stories as well, right, Denise?
Oh yeah, so we actually have several pages of stories, and actually these are just what's in the magazine is just excerpts. We're going to have the full stories on pizzatoday.com, and not to give anything away, but these are everything from tiny mom and pop pizzerias to major chains telling us what's transpired with their units. So it's going to be a pretty big thing. So November is going to be definitely one that people want to get their hands on and make sure that they're online to see all the good stuff that we have on pizzatoday.com.
And I'd also like to give a special shout out to Phil Bossard of Greenville Avenue Pizza Company. Greenville Avenue Pizza Company. He photographed the cover image and a few of the images on the inside. He really saved our butt. Like I said, it's hard for us to get out and photograph right now. We're on a travel ban, so Phil really came in there and got some great shots of their pizza slayers, and I'm just very thankful for that, Phil.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Phil. You did great. So I guess we should talk about our guest who we have on the show today.
Yes. Our 2019,
yeah.
which feels like about 10 years ago when we were there.
Yeah.
But Denise and I visited Nick Strawhecker and at Dante in Omaha, Nebraska. What was it? I guess last summer.
Yeah, it was last summer. I think it was. I think we went in either May or June. So right in the height of lockdown, a year before lockdown.
Yeah, 2019. But it was an amazing visit there. This guy is a world-class chef. I mean, I learned a lot just by listening to him during his interview with Denise.
Oh yeah, and the fact that he kept bringing us these amazing dishes. Do you remember the pasta with the foam, the foam broth on top? I still can taste that. It was so divine.
And that was fun to photograph as well. I was like, oh yeah, I don't get to see dishes like this very often, so I'm going to take advantage of photographing this.
Yeah, and he has his restaurant is Neapolitan in nature, but he definitely expands way beyond just pizza. So it's really neat to get that chef's perspectives on things. But he's actually gone into a whole new direction. So I'm excited for people to hear kind of where this chef-minded operator has moved into.
All right. Well, let's get it rolling.
Hey everyone, it's Katie, art director at Pizza Today, here to interrupt your podcast with a short commercial break. Your friends at Message on Hold are happy to introduce our voice-over IP service. Message on Hold Phones is our solution for phone service. If the internet goes down, it's no problem. You can still take online and phone orders. No busy signal ever. Professionally recorded, customized messaging for your business ensures that your customer gets the message that you want delivered to them every time. Save money and get new phones. Visit www.messageonholdservice.com/phones. And now back to the slice.
How's everything going, Nick?
Everything's really good for Dante. It's been it has been quite a adventure for all of us. We're one of the fortunate ones that have kind of thrived throughout this whole process. And we're up year over year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. What do you attribute that to? Where do you think that comes from?
So what's happened is Omaha, every place shut down. Obviously, Omaha shut down and opened kind of, I would say, above average, if you would, throughout the country. And I said countries. Anyway, and we, let's see, back, I don't know. Do you want me to start from the beginning?
Yeah. We're already rolling.
Yeah,
We're rolling with this. So
just-
yeah, let's just go ahead and talk about, the journey, the past, I guess, are we 9 months in now?
8 months in. Feels like 10 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. 7-8 months. So let's see here. In March, the first 2 weeks of March, I was in Turks and Caicos, and which was awesome. And
Well, it's nice that you got your vacation in before all this started.
Yeah, no, totally. Because it was much needed. I was in Turks and Caicos we came back on as everything was going nuts everywhere. Literally the day we left Turks and Caicos the day before Omaha or the state of Nebraska was shut down. Oh, wow. So got back on Sunday. I think it was the 14th, 15th, or 16th, somewhere in there. And I literally from the airport came straight to the restaurant. We do line up every day at 4:30 with the staff, and talk about everything that's menu changes. Anything that the staff needs to know, the servers need to know for that night's service. In this case, everybody wanted answers from me on what we were going to do. If we're shut down, and they thought that I was going to be like, well, we're going to do this, that, and the other. I was like, I don't know, because I'm not the governor,
Right.
And everybody was very, very worried. And including me, but I'd been gone for 2 weeks, sitting in the sun, drinking beers all day long. So I was feeling, I was certainly nervous, but I guess a little
Well, the
bit
beers
more
in the
level
sun
headed.
help with that. Yeah, the beers in the sun help with that. The nervous.
Well, I hadn't been reading every day, all day. I'd been paying attention to it, but not really, not compared to, when you're on vacation, you pay attention to some things. I don't know. I didn't pay attention to anything really. I knew what was going on. Anyway, so they wanted to know what was going on, what we were going to do. And I said, what's probably going to happen is, sir, you front of the house people are probably going to suffer the most in this equation at this restaurant, unfortunately. And I don't know what that, I'm going to do my best to figure out how to fix this in the next 24 hours, because I think tomorrow, Monday, we will be shut down at noon by the governor. Now, he may allow us to do carryout. And if that is so, then I will come up with a plan, and by Tuesday, I will have a plan. We'll have it all figured out. So that's what I did from that, Sunday afternoon until, Tuesday. So my wife and I, and then Justin Gilmore, who you guys probably remember, who's not with me anymore. I don't know, you guys remember meeting Justin?
Yeah, I remember Justin.
A couple of years ago, I guess it was last year. And
yeah.
Justin has since left, but so we put together a plan and of mostly a marketing plan on how to get the word out that we're doing carryout. Sure enough, the governor shut us down, and we were able to, however, we were able to do carryout, and we just hit the ground running. Sending email out every day for about 2 months or however much we were shut down, several posts a day, lots of video posts with all sorts of different messaging. And it just started with letting people know that we're doing carryout. First day was slow. Second day, Wednesday, it just blew up. And we all sorts of different specials and messaging, large carryout packages, pasta heavy stuff, pizza heavy stuff. We did whole roasted chickens. We did porchetta, all sorts of large proteins. Really, really, really pushed the booze. Different cocktail kits, cases of wine specials, affordable, medium, expensive wine specials, everything across the board. Everything was via curbside. Nobody was allowed in the restaurant other than staff. And, they had to sign something that said, we're still doing that. Ticket temperatures and signing something that they haven't been exposed, etc. Most places are doing that now. And Omaha absolutely reacted to that. It's crazy. April was like the best April that we've ever had. And what turned out was that the people left huge amounts of tips, so much that I stretched it out and we started tipping out the whole restaurant. So, which we didn't do before. The kitchen was getting, a percentage of the tips too. So nice. I expected that we were going to let people go. We didn't let anybody go. We actually had to hire people, which was fabulous.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
So, why is that? Why did that? Okay. So then on the other hand, week 2 of this whole thing, I closed my restaurant Forno in Blackstone, Omaha, which is, more central Omaha, definitely more urban. Dante is, quote unquote in the suburbs. Dante is in the top 3 richest, quote unquote, richest zip code in the state of Nebraska. And Forno was in the most densely populated zip code in the state of Nebraska. So, there were economic differences between the 2 restaurants, I'd say in a big way, and certainly political differences between the 2 zip codes. Carry out at Forno never worked. It never had worked for us prior. And, I made that quick decision. I made that decision very quickly that we gotta cut the arm off to save the body of this thing, or we're just gonna have to dump money into it. So it was a swift decision, albeit it was a very, very difficult decision. But I spent a lot of time thinking about that, and that's what we did. Yeah. So. So and then we reopened. It's time is strange. 3 months ago, 2 months ago, fully reopened. And what's happened is we created new habits with the carryout thing. So where carryout was maybe 2% of sales before at Dante, now it's 5 to 10%.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
What's
your dine-in like right now?
We are able to be at 100% capacity.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
And and we are doing that.
Oh yeah, and I saw. Are you on a reservation only because of the crowds, or are you taking walk-ins as well?
We were allowing walk-ins at the beginning. We did not, and we had 90 minutes allotted at each table. But we've pretty much completely opened the thing up. The servers are masked up. We're distancing as much as we can, but we are following the guidelines as the state of Nebraska has, told us to do.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Which is kind of funny because we've had a couple of complaints. People there'll be a complaint. Wow, they had us packed in like sardines. Well, it's not really like that, but the strange thing is then leave. Get up and walk out. I mean, it's not like I'm chaining you to the joint. It's just a very strange reaction. It's a little thing called free will, people.
And with our social distancing, our perception of what is now packed in like sardines is probably a lot different than it was pre-pandemic. Where the crowds don't seem as, it's just a little different.
You see 10 people together now, and you're like, oh man. This is a crowd.
Yeah, exactly.
And then somebody coughs and everybody freaks out.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The patio is the hottest commodity, and I think that's obviously trending all over the country. So, we're cooling down in Omaha. It's mid-October, so I'm putting in heaters out there to try and extend that light as much as possible. We have a lot of guests that I'll see every day. There'll be somebody. This is our first time out, and Dante is the first place we hit. And I'm like, that's fantastic. It's and everybody has their own feeling on this whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's like I respect most sides of it. It's just I think everybody needs to make their own decisions. Be smart. And that's great from the carryout standpoint, and that's great from the dine-in standpoint for me. Booze sales are up. Everybody's drinking a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I see you have some wine dinners coming up? I kind of what are those wine dinners, and kind of how do they fit into your restaurant?
We do different wine events, typically monthly. The next one is going to be a bison focused dinner. There is a producer that I met at the beginning of the summer that's, 90 miles northwest of me, kind of in the central part of the state in the Sandhills. And they are called Central Nebraska Buffalo. It's just a fantastic product. A friend of mine shot a buffalo in Texas last year, gave me all the short ribs. And I raised the short ribs off, and I was like, oh my gosh, I thought it was incredible.
Wow.
And I'd never really worked with the product before.
Mm-hmm.
So sourced this product, and she's actually dropping off a bunch of stuff for me to test for this dinner I have in a couple weeks. So it'll be 4 courses, 3 savory bison courses, and then a sweet. And then 4 wines, and we haven't really decided what wine we're going to do yet, but we sold 25 tickets, I think, to it so far. And then I'll be doing what's that?
Go ahead. Yeah.
We're doing it, and then in November, we'll do a Barolo dinner in November, and hopefully with white truffle. I think that will be 5 courses, and 2016 for Barolo was one of the best ever. So pre-order in 16 was just released, so we'll be completely focused on Barolo and white truffles. As long as I'm able to source white truffles, which I'm told. Looking around so far, it's been difficult, but I think I found a good source.
Nice.
Yeah, so the wine dinners are great. It's great revenue. We typically go on Wednesdays in the middle of the week. It's funny, we sell more. The tickets are great. The ticket sales are huge, but we usually most of the revenue is from retail wine sales.
Oh yeah, and you guys are very serious about wine. I mean, you even have a sommelier on staff.
We do. Yep, we have. Sometimes we'll have 3 at a time. 3 certified people. Right now we have 2. We focus just on Italian wine, and that was kind of a crazy. I mean, we sold all of our. We didn't bring any wine in for the first couple weeks of COVID. I didn't want to order any wine. I didn't want to send inventory, and then it turned out. So we got rid of everything, just unloaded our whole inventory via retail, and then so that was kind of fun, kind of building it back up again. We're not to where we were, but we're probably 70% to where we were.
So with you mentioned you closed down 4 now. Are there any plans to maybe revisit that concept in a new location or a new city or anything as far as that goes?
I'm certainly gun shy. There's no plans for me to do anything new. I just want to focus on Dante. I have debt from that closure, unfortunately. The landlord didn't really play nice either. So I'm just kind of licking my wounds from that deal and looking to the future, but nothing new as far as a new concept.
Yeah, but I think if you would have let that draw out even further, you could have accrued a lot more debt going further into the pandemic, right?
Well, 100%. We would have had to written checks from Dante to pay payroll, et cetera, to keep going.
Yeah.
Not certain, but probable. That's just the way it looked. Maybe I made the right decision. I think I made the right decision, though, from a financial standpoint.
I gotcha. Now with Dante, because I know you guys are so hyper seasonal, and that's the one thing I loved. I mean, the people on the podcast don't know this, but Josh and I were actually out there a year and a couple months ago to visit Dante, and the menu items you brought us were just so fantastic that I think I'm still like salivating for them right now. Okay, with the hyper seasonality, have you had any trouble during this time maintaining that kind of a menu, or have you had to shift your menus any during this time?
From the hyper seasonal standpoint, no, because the farmers, the local people kept going. We did, so that was great, And I actually met a couple new producers, a new person I'm getting tomatoes from, and the tomatoes are just absolutely amazing. It's a perfect question because, we're shifting now into fall, so we're kind of in a little bit of a, seasonal purgatory on what we're going to do. I don't know, the next couple of weeks, next month. So I was actually right before I jumped on the call with you, just kind of working on, all right, what's our middle season dishes going to be? So no, that that worked really well. What was difficult was fish.
Yeah.
Fish was super hard. It's like I worked with Seed to Table for years, and they're just doing institutions right now. They're doing universities, stuff like that. They're not doing but I'm working with Brown Trading out of Maine, and I'm working with Foods in Season out of Oregon for fish. But yeah, apparently it was great on the ecosystem on the sea. I get just with the lack of people out there fishing, it's just allowed the populations to really grow, and which is kind of cool because I'm doing Florida next week fishing. So.
Oh yeah, nice.
Well, I'll see if that's true, but I'm a horrible fisherman.
Hey everyone, it's Katie, art director at Pizza Today, here to interrupt your podcast with a short commercial break. Performance Food Service is proud to deliver high-quality products, innovative technology, and custom operational solutions to restaurants of all sizes across the country. The flagship division of Performance Food Group, with deep roots in the restaurant industry, Performance Food Service has been the exclusive distributor of the Roma family of brands for more than 65 years. This signature relationship has allowed Performance Food Service to become a leader in the pizza and Italian segment of food service nationwide. Figuring out how to do delivery right can be a daunting task, especially when it comes to third-party platforms, in-house delivery, contactless solutions, and POS functionality. Fortunately, the innovators at PDQ have developed the Delivery Toolkit app, a convenient single source that can measurably enhance all aspects of delivery while saving time, effort, and costs. Rooted in metrics, the multi-integrated PDQ Delivery Toolkit is a must-have resource for your store. Learn why at pdqdt.com or call 877-968-6430. That's 877-968-6430. And now, back to the slice.
We've been talking to a lot of people about during this time. I think everybody's been looking for that outlet to get them through just the mental, challenges of operating restaurants and things during this time. And your culinary gift and just your training, have you been extra specially creative in the kitchen lately? What kinds of things have you been working up?
What has happened? So I lost my director of operations / GM 3 months ago.
Ouch.
Well, it was a little bit. We're still friends, and and he worked really hard for us. But I've shifted in more of a GM role. But still, still chef. It's still my menu. I'm not working in the kitchen as much. I'm doing a lot of the back end stuff, which I wasn't. It was very much so out of my comfort zone at the beginning. Which, having this place for 10 years, I should have been more comfortable with that. So it allowed me to really control every facet of the restaurant and really understand a lot more. The money coming in, the money going out. Now, our costs have always been in line, everything like that. So and we've always had an outside accountant. So it's not like we were running this place blindly. It was just now I'm providing my accountant and these other people that help me, these other people that I've outsourced to kind of keep things. I'm the conduit as opposed to somebody else, I guess is the way to put it.
Do you like this new role?
I really do. It's a lot different. I really, really do, because it's kind of the best of both worlds. I have my hand in every single aspect of the restaurant. I always focused on, kitchen, creativity, kitchen ops,
right,
marketing. Now it's all that more.
Most creative people, they have to open up a spreadsheet. Their mind kind of just freezes like mine anyway. So yeah, getting out of your comfort zone and exploring the other side of the business. I mean, I think that's only going to make your business better for sure.
So too, and then also, you save that salary,
Yeah.
and I'm actually working less.
Yeah, working
wow.
less, huh? Wow.
Yeah, I didn't work, and I worked like 3 nights in 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Which is
Wow.
not big. So I have a 5-year-old, so I can put him to bed every night, read him a book. There's things that are more important than working all the time. I'm starting to realize. So it's as long as you have good people, as long as you're organized, when business is good, you can do these things. So I'm taking advantage of it.
Yeah, that says a lot about your leadership as well, to be able to do that in the first place. And so, yeah, hats off to you on that.
And it's like we've been around for 10 years. I've been grinding for 10 years, and then 2 restaurants for 3 years. And I just don't think I need to call every single ticket that comes by. I just don't think I need to do it. I can only play. And I want to do it every so often, but I just don't want to do it every day.
Yeah. I definitely got you. So who do you have? Now, how is your kitchen functioning without you as the lead in your kitchen? Has it transitioned? Is it a little different? What's happening in your kitchen?
Kind of same structure. But we were finally the problem was before, when, as crazy as it sounds, for line cooks. We've always just been understaffed. West Omaha in general, we have a very, very low unemployment rate. With these other restaurants closing, we were able to kind of get our hands on some new talents, some line cooks. And so chef de cuisine by chef de cuisine, sous chefs, they don't need to work. They don't need to work stations anymore. Brought in another great chef that all these guys. All these restaurants closing. There's just so much talent floating around, and I wanted to do brunch. I started doing brunch 3 weeks ago. With a gentleman from a restaurant around town that he was an executive chef of a place, and he's like, gave me a call. I was like, "You want to run brunch for me?" Yep. All right. Let's start tomorrow. And we basically designed a menu in 5 or 6 days from everything about the brunch aspect, and kind of launched it very quickly.
Now, from an operational standpoint, launching into a brunch program, is that, how challenging was that adding, a brunch day part?
I would say that it was like 5% of the work of opening a restaurant. So it was, we have space here. We didn't have to get really any small wares or equipment. We had to get a couple things. It was more designing the menu, figuring out what works, designing the beverage menu, shifting how service would work in the front of the house, and scheduling, and just again organization. It's not crushing it yet, and we're doing Saturdays and Sundays, and I guess we're going into our 3rd or 4th weekend this weekend. But it's grown. It's had single-digit growth each shift since the first weekend. So we're going the right direction.
Oh, that's good.
So how are you marketing it pretty heavily, or how are you getting the word out there on it?
Social media, we started doing 2 posts on weekend days. So Saturday there'll be a post at 8 a.m. about brunch. Mm-hmm. Sunday the same, and then around 1 we'll have something about what's on the menu that night, or a different message. We're all our people, and so Instagram is. We were always super strong on Facebook at Dante, and it's totally shifted now. Now it's Instagram is what is the strongest social media platform for us. We have 12,000 email addresses, so we use that to our advantage, but not too much. So we use that as well for getting the word out about brunch. And then, so Cisco, this is a new thing that I learned, 2 or 3 years ago, and most Cisco's around the country probably do this, but I can have any really collateral printed for free via Cisco as long as I provide the copy. So my wife, So my wife is, I mean, she does all our social media. She has her arms around the marketing piece. Designed this thing, got to Cisco, boom, get all this free collateral. So we put it on our check presenters. You know, you already have a captive audience. If they're coming to your joint, they're probably interested in coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So as long as they know that and brunch is just super hot in Omaha. It just is. But it's an excuse for people to drink during the day. And you know, just to get after it, to get out and so it's certainly been growing.
So you said your wife handled, that was one of my next questions. Do you have if you had an outside company handling your marketing or you did it in-house?
I've had several over the years. We've completely bootstrapped the marketing for the past 2 years, which I think we know our brand. There's been, my wife completely has her arms around that. We have no outside influence. We, every once in a while we'll get some PR help. If there's something with that, but you know, I've had everybody from small, you know, kind of people out of their homes help us. Some have been great, and then I've had huge firms that were really expensive, and they just did not get what we needed.
Right.
Yeah.
They would. I mean, to the point where they wouldn't come in and eat. I'm like, you have to come here and you have to come in and eat. You have to see what we do. You got to hang out with me in the kitchen. You got to take photos. All this and that. We just do it. That was the last firm that I used.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, something I really love about your social is that that you put yourself and your sommelier out in front of the camera. And it really shows the passion for what you do and like how you explain your specials. Like you can tell how excited you are about the food you are serving on those announcements that you put out on social. So I give you a huge commendation for that.
Thank you. Completely my wife's idea. I really, really didn't want to do that. I really didn't want to do it at first. And, you know, it depends on the week. Sometimes there'll be like 20 takes and she's like, but she's good at directing me, but now it's usually down to, you know, we get it 1 or 2 times. And half the time my son's sitting next to me, so he likes to poke his head in. It's pretty funny, but you know, people want to hear from, there's such a robust following, you know, locally that people want to hear from Paul Foss, a sommelier, or Rob Mettler, a bartender, or any number of folks that have been with us for a long time that our guests know and love, and they consider friends. So,
I mean, they get a lot more invested in your business and you if they see you out there all the time on social, for sure.
I think so.
And, you know, you have such a big stature in your community for, you know, your chefs programs, how, you know, you really do cultivate the area chefs. Has that been hit really hard with COVID of being able to be out there and, you know, help develop other chefs?
Well, so it's funny, I was invited to an event, let's see, it was this past Friday, and which was the first thing that I know that happened in Omaha. So it was a couple of guys that I've worked with over the past few years, and it was at a country club, and so that was pretty cool being around everybody, and we actually went out for a couple of drinks afterwards, so got to go catch up with those guys. And, you know, everybody's feeling it different, but as far as, you know, you asked about influencing other cooks in the community. You know, I think I have 5 new line cooks, maybe 6 that I've hired the past 6 months, which is a lot for us.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, just because of their opportunities at other places didn't work out or whatever. So it's starting to get back going again, I guess.
Yeah. And, you know, bringing on all that new talent, how have you been able to kind of help them develop since they've joined you? Have you set into motion some development programs with them?
So your questions, Denise, are
I
just
know,
so
I
on
like
point
to
because
hit
it's
it
like,
really hard.
no, they're great. They're great because it's like there's just so many things that are like, oh yeah, I just did this last week. Okay, so we haven't had. It's been hard to find a dishwasher, which it's hard to understand. But so the guys have been taking turns washing dishes during the week. So usually been the youngest guy. But everybody's kind of cool about it. It's usually been the youngest guy in the kitchen, or the less senior, or whatever that's getting in front of it. So I think it was a week ago today. I put together a quiz, like a culinary quiz, focusing on Italy. And 5 guys sat at the bar, and they had like 7 minutes to put this quiz together. Most of them didn't really know. They'd have like a piece of the answer or whatever. And I told them at the beginning, I'm like, I don't care if you get 0 wrong, or you get 5. This is simply it's a springboard for conversation for us. It's a springboard for your mind. So I think I asked a question about a lot of regional questions. So what region can you find Ferrari, Bolognese, totally a bunch of things from basically Emilia Romagna. So that just got I could see their minds going. So I was hoping they'd go home, open a book, maybe jump on their computer. I'm all about books when it comes to learning, different cookbooks, old, new, everything, paging through looking for ideas. So I really kind of talk about books all the time with the guys. Obviously, jumping on the computer's good too. I just think it's kind of cheating, if you just, Google totally wrote it, for example.
Yeah.
It's so easy, it's like, go find a book. And then, because half the time, if you pick up a book and you're looking for something, you're going to find something else that you didn't know you were looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I'm trying to do things like that. Yeah, I remember a sous chef did that for me 15 years ago. To see who could go home early, but I like the quiz thing.
Yeah, that sounds really fun. All right, so I'm going to close this out on one final question based on what you just said, because I think it's great. If you could recommend maybe 2 books to other pizzeria chefs or owners of your love of cooking, what would they be?
2 books. What do I like right now?
Yeah, that's the hard thing. It's like, what are you into right now? Probably.
Okay, there's a book that's hard to.
You're looking at your bookshelf right now.
Well, I'm sitting in my office and I have a couple. Well, there's this book, Bar Tartine, this restaurant in San Francisco that I really like because there's lots of kind of fermentation stuff and just kind of a different way that I don't know, just a different, I just don't really think the way that these people do in this book. So I had a lot of good takeaways from that. Another book, I don't know, I think it's been out the past couple of years, is called Statebird Provisions.
I'm sorry, what was that again?
Statebird Provisions. And I mean, neither of these really have to do, I think they have a wood hearth at Statebird Provisions, so there's a lot of wood takeaways or wood fired cookery in that book, and they're out of San Francisco too, I think, maybe LA.
Yeah.
So those are 2 books I've kind of liked recently, and I think they've been out the past 2 or 3 years.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Nick, thanks so much for taking a little bit of time with us today. And we wish you the best of luck with Dante. Continue that role you've been on with Dante, and we'll see what happens next with you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.